Tonight starts a tough 3-game stretch for the Patriots, who will need to take down 3 playoff caliber teams just to finish undefeated on the season. It all starts tonight with a win over Greenbrier East. Jim, back to you.
Thanks, Duncan. We'll see you back here in the studio tonight for Football Frenzy.
Should be a good one yet again here in Vincent, with kickoff set for 7 o'clock. It's also homecoming here tonight at Warren High School, so expect the Warriors to come out with a little added juice. Julie, back to you.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Thanks, Duncan.
Thank you, Julie. Tonight, a rivalry is reborn. For the first time in 9 years, the Belpre Golden Eagles host the Warren Warriors on the gridiron. And these two schools that border each other will be playing for some big-time bragging rights. But for the 5-2 Golden Eagles, this game means more than just bragging rights. A win tonight on homecoming will give them a major boost in the Division 6 playoff rankings and could very well propel them into the playoffs. On the other side of things, a win tonight secures a 500 season or better for the Warren Warriors for the first time since 2011. Warren, who sits at 4-3, is more than likely out of the playoff race in Division 3, but a win would be huge in keeping the program trending in the right direction.
Time's running short. Duncan, the play of the night.
All right, it's Zane Heiss showing you what he eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's protein. That bad boy is going 90 yards to the house. Zane Heiss, truck stick into the end zone.
And McKenna Winans was also throwing a block party. She doesn't like her Oreo single stuff. She likes them double stuff. That's 1, that's 2 rejections. And then the offense, they continue to dominate as Sierra Hayes drops a dime to Kenzie Johnson.
Finally adding insult to injury, Brandon Simonetti. That's somebody Belpre used to know, the double coverage, but it don't matter. Absolutely mossing the defender. Warren takes a 29-0 lead. Knights trying to get something going, but Caden Fryman saying, nah, dog, that's my ball. And now the Cadets, they're going back to work. And the Cadets, they hit the Knights with some trickery. Ian Ellis hands off to Zane Wallace, who also hands off to Fisher. And Fisher, he gets the blocks he needs for the 22-yard touchdown and a 14-0 lead. And homecoming night, the Fort Fry Cadet student section was absolutely loving the whooping they were giving Wheeling Central Catholic. And the domination, it wasn't done yet. Still in the second, sophomore Ian Ellis, he's dropping the dime to who else but Fisher. He goes in and takes it all the way to the 5-yard line and ends up scoring to give the Cadets a 20-0 lead at the half. And from there on out, the Cadet defense eats a second helping of dinner. Isaiah Jones coming through with a tackle for the loss as Fort Fry holds Wheeling Central Catholic to less than 50 yards on the night as the Cadets take down more than likely the best team in single A West Virginia football. Still wouldn't stop the domination. John Marshall, they try to get it going, but doink, helmet turns into an interception for who else? Brandon Penn. And shocker, the Patriots find the end zone again. Penn, he hits Francisco once again, and the beatdown continues, taking a 35-0 lead early in the second quarter. In the second, but Seth Dennis out at short. He saves the day, charges the grounder, and shows off the cannon for the great play, keeping it at 1-0. After that, Kurt Taylor was making it nasty. His curveball working wonders as he racks up the strikeout in the third. And the Tigers would match with great pitching and defense. Tim Clements, he's throwing his body around like a rag doll in center field for the great diving catch. Tigers lead 1-0.
Coach, you're a very energetic guy, I would say. How do you hope that that kind of plays off to your players? Obviously, I think you try to use that as, you know, motivation for them to get up and play as hard as they can. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, Duncan. I just love football, and I love being around it. But you know, I think me, our entire staff, we all kind of gel together. We're a lot alike, and I think our kids feed off of our energy.
Before Marietta College's head men's basketball coach, John Vanderwall, even coached a game for the Pioneers, he was already invested in the community. In the summer of 2007, John ran his first ever Pioneer basketball camp, and 13 years later, it is as strong as ever.
Just seeing how much fun the kids have, and that's, you know, sometimes as a college basketball coach, you get so wrapped up in wins and losses and all that, and then to be here in the summer where kids just love to play and you get to just kind of relax and have fun teaching the game of basketball, it's a really neat thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and there's a lot of cool stuff here. It's probably my favorite camp, basketball camp I've ever been to. It's like awesome because I've always wanted to learn how these guys play it, and I've always wanted to be in college playing basketball. So now that I know how they do it, it's going to be pretty cool.
Pretty cool indeed. And helping Coach Vanderwall give advice to the kids are both coaches and players in the men's and women's Marietta basketball programs. And for two local athletes who grew up right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley, it feels great for them to make an impact on the community they grew up in.
It means a lot to me. I remember going to camps at Warren when I was a kid and like looking up to the older kids, and now we're the ones that they're looking up to. So it's just cool to get to work with them and see them grow throughout the 3 days and watch them get better.
It's a great way to impact the community. It's nice to meet the parents when they come pick up their kids. Honestly, I wish every kid in the area would come out to this.
Not every kid does come, but for those who do, they will learn skills that may take them to the collegiate level. From Marietta, Duncan Goldberg, WTAP Sports.
Well, well, well. You just couldn't stop yourself, could you? Back for another week of Duncan's Dandies, aren't you? I knew you'd be back. I knew it. I knew it. Let's lead off with the old Marietta Tigers boys soccer team. And man, oh man, is this team good. This week, the Tigers started their quest for a state title in Division II, crushing Waverly in the first game of the playoffs by a final of 12-0. And then in their second game yesterday, they smashed Hillsboro by a final of 6-1. Their next game is this upcoming Wednesday in the district semifinals, where they will take on the Athens Bulldogs, a team that they beat by a score of 6-0 in the regular season. And now let's go to our team of the week, and it is the first time it goes to a football squad, the Parkersburg Big Reds. It was starting to look like do or die for the Big Reds in terms of making the playoffs, and the Big Reds, they delivered, taking on Hurricane Redskins, a team that many people thought the Big Reds were going to lose to, including me. Parkersburg brings a whooping, taking down Hurricane by a final of 42-28 behind the backs of Bryson Singer at quarterback with 234 yards through the air and 171 yards on the ground, and Braden Mason, who hauled in 3 touchdowns and 157 yards in the air, including the football frenzy play of the week, a 91-yard touchdown grab. And with Halloween right around the corner, the Parkersburg South Patriots gave their fans a nice scare. The undefeated Patriots took down Morgantown in thrilling fashion to stay undefeated on the season, down 28-27 heading into the fourth quarter. Devin Gaines, he would punch in his 4th touchdown of the evening to give South the 35-28 lead, and that is how things would stay as South remains just one of 3 undefeated teams in West Virginia AAA football. And speaking of undefeated teams, how about the Fort Fry Cadets? They just keep on rolling as they smash Caldwell by a final of 58-7 on Friday night. The Cadets were led by senior Zane Wallace, who got it done in all kinds of ways. Zane runs for 103 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns, has 49 yards receiving, has a pick 6 for a touchdown, and a 35-yard touchdown, and then he also did the dirty work on special teams, returning a 63-yard touchdown for a score. As the Cadets, they just keep getting better. And staying in Ohio for a rivalry reborn. For the first time in 9 years, the Belpre Golden Eagles and the Warren Warriors took to the gridiron, and for the Warriors, it was quite the night, pulling out the 35-7 victory. And no surprise, the Warrior air raid was out in full force, with Kurt Taylor tossing it all over the field to Joel Chevalier, Evan Gandy, and Brandon Simonetti, who decided to break out his best Randy Moss impression in the Warren victory. And that right there is this week's version of Duncan's Dandies. Make sure you tune in next week for another go-around.
I knew how good I was at quarterback and everything, and just not getting the starting spot till now, it's just kind of left me with a little bit of chip. Now that I'm showing everyone what I could do, everyone's like surprised. Like, someone told me that some guy asked who I was and where have I been, and I've been here the whole entire time.
Indeed, Brandon Penn has. The senior starting quarterback has been lighting it up for the Parkersburg South Patriots on the varsity level scene since his sophomore year. But this year, he finally took over the reins at quarterback, and Penn has lived up to the hype. The Patriots are 3-0 to start the season, and Penn is leading the way, averaging 325 yards and 4 touchdowns per game.
It feels good, but at the same time, it's like a lot of pressure. You know, everyone's counting on me to make everything good throughout the season and everything. They look up to me because my ability on the field shows how dominant I could be.
Brandon didn't live in West Virginia until he was a teenager, but since has fallen in love with the Parkersburg South community. And while here, he has thrived in the classroom where he's continuously on the A honor roll. As for the man that pushes Brandon to be the best he can be, look no further than Dad.
I really look up to him and everything that's going on with it. And he just showed me how to become a better football player and a better person overall.
After graduation, Brandon will be off to college to continue his football career, where he is still receiving scholarship offers and deciding on which school he will attend. From Parkersburg, Duncan Goldberg, WTAP Sports. Hannah Jankowskis of Warren High School has been golfing for less than 5 years, starting in just the 8th grade. But within that short period of time, Hannah has accomplished more than one could imagine. Hannah holds almost every notable record in Warren's girls golf history, including the lowest 18-hole score of 83. Hannah is also the first girl in Warren history to reach the state tournament.
I think it's just kind of unreal because, I mean, even last year I didn't expect that I would be where I was, like, right now. It's just hard to believe sometimes. Like, I still can't believe that I'm getting to go to state because that's been always my dream.
Hannah takes a lot of pride in her golfing success, and it stems from the belief that those around her have in her. She pushes herself on a daily basis to be the best she can be to reach new personal heights.
I definitely like making my coaches and my brother and parents proud. I think it's always fun just to drop new PRs every week. It's fun to live up to the expectations that I think they have for me, and they're just good role models, and I want to follow in my brother's footsteps.
After graduation, Hannah hopes to attend Otterbein University and join her big brother Joshua on the golf team. From Vincent, Duncan Goldberg, WTAP Sports.
What a year it was for high school hoops here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. A total of 6 teams in the area made the state tournament in both boys and girls basketball. And all year I sat back and watched to see which players were the best of the best. And after a season of analysis, I unveil my slam dunk All-Mid-Ohio Valley Futures team and All-Mid-Ohio Valley team, starting with the girls.
First on the Futures team list is freshman Hannah Archer of Fort Fry. Hannah is a marksman from behind the arc, shooting 42% from distance, and was second on the team in scoring, averaging 11.7 points per game. Staying in Ohio with sophomore from Warren High School, Olivia Alloway. Olivia showed us a glimpse of the Warriors' future, leading them in scoring with over 11 points per game, along with a solid 4.6 boards. Finishing the Ohio side of things is Morgan Altenberger of Marietta. Morgan is a sophomore and has a strong all-around game for the Lady Tigers. She averaged over 10 points per game, which was good for second on the team. Now to West Virginia with a double dose of Crusaderettes. Freshman Leslie Huffman and sophomore Aaliyah Bruni are two names that you will be hearing a lot of in the future. Aaliyah led Catholic in scoring, dropping 16.5 points per game, while Leslie averaged double digits and was a lockdown defender, drawing the best matchup every night for the state runner-up Crusaderettes. Finishing the all-futures team is sophomore Kylie Wright of St. Mary's. Kylie had a fantastic year for the Lady Blue Devils, finishing the season second in scoring, averaging almost 13 points per game. To the best of the best for the all-MOV team. First up is LKC Player of the Year and one of the most skilled players in the Valley, Madeline Huffman of Parkersburg Catholic. Madeline averaged almost 16 points per game and led the Valley in assists per game with 5.5 dimes. And it's bad news for everyone else because she's still got one more year. Staying in Parkersburg is the Lady Big Reds Big Three of Shaylee Kirby, Bree Wilson, and Maddie Mace. The trio combined for a total of 43 points per game and helped propel Parkersburg to back-to-back state championships. Staying in Parkersburg, but going south to the Lady Patriots with the block machine McKenna Winans. The junior had over 50 rejections on the season. Along with that, she averaged 14.4 points per game and grabbed over 7 boards. Off to Ohio for the double-double master in Hannah Croft of Marietta. The junior averaged 14.5 points and 11.3 rebounds per game for the Lady Tigers and is only going to get better next season. And rounding up the list is senior Morgan Borch of Fort Fry. Morgan led the Lady Cadets in scoring with 13 points per game, and she was a jack of all trades for the Lady Cadets in one of their best seasons in years.